Siamo qua con Blitz The Ambassodor. So, hi Blitz.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. You?
Great, I'm very well.
Have you enjoyed the time here in Turin?
Yes, love it. This is my second time in Torino, and yeah, man, I love the vibe here. I love coming back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. So let's start with the musical questions.
Yeah.
So the last album was released in 2011,
Yeah.
and its name was Native Son.
Yeah.
So you made a particular choice, like you shared onto YouTube.
Yeah.
So why this choice, and do you think that this choice made you some real benefits in terms of visibility, like more people listen to your album?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first, decided, well, we were approached by YouTube to stream the entire album, and everybody was like, "That's not a good idea because, people aren't going to buy the album." But the reality is that we're living in a digital age, and if people don't want to pay for an album, they're not going to pay for it. They're going to get it for free anyway. So, I think we benefited greatly in that a lot more people got to hear the album that may not have, and the album received at least 100,000 listens on YouTube. So that's 100,000 people who, or at least 100,000 times that Native Son has been heard, which to me is better than just keeping it on iTunes and then just 5,000 people who were going to buy it already go get it. So no, it really helped us.
Oh, okay. So another thing, you posted on Twitter that you're going to release your new album this summer.
Yeah.
So its name is Riot, if I pronounce it well.
It's pronounced Griot.
Ah, Griot, okay. Sorry for my pronunciation.
No problem.
So, what's the meaning of Griot, and what's the concept behind this album? So, what is going to be there in the album?
Yeah, well, Griot is a name for a West African storyteller. So, I look at it as hip hop artists are the new griots. So, back in the day during the Mali Empire, they had storytellers that would, because history wasn't written down. So these storytellers, it was their responsibility for them to recount the history of this empire and teach it to their kids to pass it down. And these storytellers would travel around the world and talk about how great this kingdom was and talk about their stories. Well, that's how I feel about hip-hop artists. When we travel around the world, we're talking about our cities, we're talking about where we're from. So we're modern-day griots, in my opinion. However, I'm spelling griot differently. I'm spelling griot with a G and a uppercase R-I-O-T, which is the correct spelling, but the lowercase and the uppercase R-I-O-T make the difference, because I feel like hip-hop artists are not just griots, in that we're not just telling of the cities we're from and bigging up, but we also have the power to change people's minds, and that to me is where the riot comes in, and so that's the concept of the album. As far as musically, what you can expect, I mean, one thing that I've been trying to do since my whole career is trying to blend hip-hop music with African sounds, contemporary African music, so Afrobeat, high life. This album specifically, I'm on Native Son, I bridged a lot of the gap between hip-hop and Afrobeat and high life. Well, on Griot, I'm taking it a step further and blending more of the traditional African music. So music that's played by kora, music that's played by balafon, a lot of the ancient Malian music is what I'm incorporating into this album. So it's exciting for me. It's a new sound, and I really hope people like it.
Ah, okay. So another thing, you formed a live band which you perform with. So this is another particular choice. And do you think that this can distinguish you in comparison to more classical rappers which play with digital beats instead of live bands?
Yeah, well, honestly, this has already differentiated me. I mean, I'm sitting here in Torino a lot of because of that reason, because my band is it's a complete different unit, and it's unlike any other hip hop band because I have 3 horns, which is not popular in hip hop. Most hip hop bands are just rhythm sections, so you have drums, bass, keys, or guitar. Well, I bring a horn section that has turned things around a lot, so people obviously can differentiate me when they see my band up there. They know, okay, 3 horns in suits doing crazy dance moves. Okay, we know that's Blitz the Ambassador. You know, so that has already set me apart and has also given me the opportunity to expand hip hop a little bit more beyond just beats and rhymes. Now we're talking about sax solos. We're talking about drum solos. We're talking about so many different things that are not popular in hip hop.
Okay. So, if you could choose one of the traditional African singers to perform on your album or live on stage, who would you choose? Who would it be?
Well, that's a difficult question. I mean, I'm a big fan of all these people, and you know, all these traditional African musicians. Some of them more contemporary, some of them past, and some of them are not here anymore. But for those who are here now, I mean, Salif Keita would be my personal choice, especially because of the album I'm working on right now, which is Griot. And Salif Keita is from, that Malian understanding. His direct lineage goes back to the king who was Sundiata Keita. And so for me, Salif Keita is one of the most important voices, period. And it'll be great to make, record with him or perform with him.
And what about African hip hop scene? Do you think that it's going to improve a lot in these years and it's going to be a big scene for the future?
Well, it has already started to expand, and that is the great thing about what artists like myself do out here, what artists like K9, Manifest, Mensa, Ineka. I mean, there are a lot of us who are doing amazing work in terms of showcasing the continent of Africa. So what ends up happening is that people say, oh wow, if Blitz the Ambassador is from Ghana, then there must be more talented people from Ghana. So they start to look more and more. And so, I believe rising tides lift all boats. And I feel like very soon, the African sound is going to dominate hip hop.
So you were born and raised in Ghana,
Yeah.
and then you went to United States
Yeah.
to start your musical career. How important is the African component in your music?
Well, it is the only component in my music, honestly. I don't think that even when I incorporate hip hop music or reggae music or funk music, that I'm not doing African music. I think that the African component in itself is the sound, and we just choose to represent different sides of it. For me, if you take Africa outside of what I do, I don't even exist. So hence it is all about what I do.
Okay, last question. So you're not only a rapper, you're also a director. Can you tell us something about your experience as a movie maker?
Well, I would love to make more films, because filmmaking is actually it's an amazing collaborative thing, because you're not the only person that music. I can sit in a room and make all the music alone. I don't even need necessarily to find musicians. I choose to do that, but I don't have to. Filmmaking is different. I mean, unless I'm just doing a one-man movie, it's impossible. You need to work with people. You need to work with actors. You need to work with cinematographers. You need to work with editors, to bring your vision to life. So I love it because it's a great collaborative sport. I'm a big football fan. And so, I think in terms of football. I think in terms of what your goalkeeper does, what your defender does, what your midfielder does, what your strikers do. And that is the way I approach filmmaking. It's like, okay, I may be the striker, but if I don't get the ball from the midfield, I can't score. You understand? And so that's how I feel about filmmaking. I would love to make more movies. So far, I've only been able to make a brilliant short film called Native Son, which is the title, the movie that was inspired by my album. It was co-directed by Terrence Nance, a friend of mine. And I'm working on a feature film about boxing. I'm a big boxing fan as well, and you know, I want to go to Ghana and make a film about boxing and how these boxers who come from very little end up becoming world champions. And so I'm excited about doing that. I'll be starting work on that this year. And you know, you should expect great music in it, because I love to make great music, and more importantly, I love to tell stories about Africa and people coming out of Africa, because we don't see enough positive stories about that.
Okay. Thank you very much
Thank you very much
for the interview. Thank you.
Grazie mille.
And good luck for your concert, your live show of tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.